There's no question the cost to live in San Francisco is expensive. Now a startup just purchased a building to house 400 people and is offering $700 a month rent. But there's a catch. Renters share space with hundreds of other people and sleep in sleeping pods. A new exclusive article in the San Francisco Chronicle shares details of this new plan for what's being called a mega dorm. Joining us live now is staff writer Laura Waxman, who wrote the article. Laura, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Karina. Thanks for having me.
The company Brownstone Shared Housing just purchased this vacant building at 1049 Market Street, where they plan to house 400 pods where people can sleep. But this isn't the first time they've tried something like this. Can you tell us what happened at their other downtown location at 12 Mint Plaza?
That's right. A few months ago, the story was a startup on the brink of collapse. They actually have a location right here across from where I'm at Mint Plaza at 5th and Mission Streets. It's their first location where they had 36 sleeping pods, these cubic pods that have twin mattresses that are stacked on top of each other and rented out, as you said, for $700 a month. So they actually faced an eviction lawsuit here just a few months ago. They were behind on a year's worth of rent, and it looked pretty grim at that point, but they managed to come back from that, as you can see.
We'll go into regulations and legality in just a moment of something like this, but let's talk about that new location. So now they plan to implement that same concept at 1049 Market Street?
Right. So the interesting thing about this is that the founder, James Stallworth, has told me repeatedly that there is such huge demand for this type of housing that they are actually on an expansion course. And they had been looking for a location close by. They wanted to lease. And then I'm told this opportunity to buy a building came up. And as we know, in San Francisco right now, the commercial real estate market is down. It's depressed. So there are a lot of deals out there. So this founder, reached out to building owners and happened to find someone who was willing to sell him an entire building. And that building has a really interesting history. It was a work-live building for artists back 10 years ago. And, had that kind of vibe, right? Had tenants in it before, but has been sitting empty for many years. So now the plan is to take it, convert it into these sleeping pods, and fill it with 400 tenants.
Yeah, I know you go into more detail on the history of that building, but I checked out the website and we're looking at it right now. Brownstone's website says their company offers the fastest way to convert office space into housing with the plug-and-play sleeping pods installed in just days. So can you talk about the regulation? Is this regulated in any way? What about permits and the legality of it?
That's an ambitious timeline, I have to say. To be frank, the location at 12 Mint Plaza is not fully permitted. And that was one of the issues that they've had, right? Prior to this eviction lawsuit that came this summer. They are still in talks with the city around permitting this as a legal use, having this commercial building, a former bank, become housing. And that's the same story really for the new building that they're buying. James told me that he is still working with the city to approve that as a sleeping pod dorm. And that is a process that can take some time, and it requires pulling permits, right? It requires inspections, it requires life safety, investigations. So 3 days is ambitious, I would say.
Yeah, but the plan is to open 1049 by summer. It's already up on their website. So can you talk about who the target market for a co-living situation like this is, which you in your article compared to just a massive dormitory?
That's what it is. They're sharing bathrooms, right? They're sharing common spaces. They're sharing living spaces. I think this story struck a chord with people because the immediate thought is this is going to be a tech dorm, right? We have AI having a surge in the city. We have a lot of tech workers coming in. So I'm sure there will be plenty of tech people in the industry who will live there as well. But James insists, this is a place for everyone. This is a place for artists. This is a place for people who need a cheap place to live. So it sounds like everyone is welcome.
And Laura, real quick before you go, have you reached out to the mayor or any city officials about this?
Yes, so definitely have been in touch with the planning department as I've covered this issue over the past year. And, it sounds like there definitely is a little bit of a shift in how the city is thinking about repurposing buildings, commercial buildings to housing, whereas James in the past has had issues with the permits. We're now in a new place. We have a lot of office vacancy. We have a lot of empty buildings downtown, and the city really wants those repurposed. So people like him coming in at this time in the market are having a really good opportunity.
All right, Laura Waxman, great article about this, and you, of course, can read it. Thank you so much, Laura. Appreciate your time.